Marriage is not working for a good percentage of the population. What is happening? What is it about marriage that ruins our sex life, if you will, or that makes it kind of go away for many people? Today, I want to ponder the question, is marriage what's wrong with your sex life? I'm not anti-marriage, so let's not start with that. I believe marriage is right for some people, and it was right for me for 26 years, so I'm not dissing marriage. But I just want to talk about, how did marriage come about? Marriage came about as a financial contract. So she had a dowry, he married her to take care of her, and it was a contract between families. We didn't live that long. So when you were marrying somebody, maybe in your teens or your early 20s, maybe you lived into your 40s. So we probably didn't have the divorce rates that we do today. But today, as we all know, divorce rates are really high. They're over 50% for first marriages, over 60% for second, and over 70% for third. Marriage is not working for a good percentage of the population. What is happening? What is it about marriage that ruins our sex life, if you will, or that makes it kind of go away for many people? Well, when you meet somebody, right, what's the first thing that you think about? It's that physical attraction, right? It's like, oh, I really like this person. And then you feel physically attracted. And as you get to know them better, you get an emotional attachment. And then eventually you want to spend the rest of your life with them because you fall in love with them, right? But once you're in that kind of safe, comfortable space, you're never going to get that kind of new relationship energy, that tingly feeling. Maybe not never, but it's not going to be the same kind of tingly feeling that you had when you first started the relationship. Now, marriage has these kind of, I don't know if they're arbitrary, but there's certain shoulds in marriage. We should be monogamous is one. We should be having regular sex. And we should make babies. That's just a couple of shoulds about marriage, right? Now, that maybe those shoulds are good for you. Maybe they're not shoulds. Maybe they're have tos. Maybe they're want tos. But they are kind of the rules of engagement, if you will, some of them. And as these things happen, as you start having a family, as life goes on, as parents age, as work, etc., sex can become a chore. It becomes something that is less spontaneous, and it's not something that you jump into bed with each other. And eventually, what I hear is that many couples just stop having sex. Now, whether it's because they lack the new energy or they have physical issues from menopause, from andropause, but that starts to fade. And so your sex life basically becomes either non-existent, or as I have one friend who dubbed it husband sex. It's a chore that you do as a favor to your partner. I actually have friends that do it so their husband will kind of take out the trash. It's like, I'll give you sex if you do this for me. The very things that brought you together now are that made you really want your partner physically so badly, they're not there anymore. So sex is not something that it used to be. However, there is hope. It's not all doom and gloom. Doesn't mean you're never going to have sex life. Is it work? Not necessarily. You can make it kind of fun to fix things up. So research shows that couples that have good sex lives have better relationships that last longer. You ever see those couples in their 50s and 60s and 70s holding hands still? I had a neighbor that, they were 5 kids and they held hands. As long as I can remember, they were always holding hands. I bet they had some really great sex. But the hardest thing to do is to start to get back into sex after you've not had it for a really long time. When you've gotten into a rut, if you go to a marriage counselor, I know they said this to me. I even had when I went by myself. They say, why don't you try dance lessons? I get the idea of dance lessons because it's very intimate and you're moving together and all that. But really? I mean, my ex had 2 left feet. There was no way dancing was happening. But you need to start to get a conversation going or you're never going to have sex again, right? And we're all sexual beings and sex can be a lot of fun. And if you love your partner, you can get it back. I would start by having the conversation in some way that is sort of easy. Oh, I was listening to this podcast, or send a link to the podcast, or send a link to something that was kind of interesting or an article. Try not to look at them when you're talking. If it's uncomfortable for you, if you're washing the dishes in the car, turned around, hey, honey, how about, is it okay? Can we? And plant the seed of having the conversation. And then you can kind of co-create a list of possibilities. There's something called the yes, no, maybe list. So maybe each of you create a list of possibilities. And it doesn't have to be crazy, wild sex parties. It can be something very simple. I like to suggest sexual snacking. So this is a combination of terms I've heard, and I put them together because I think sexual snacking is the best way to reignite a new and some more sexual energy in your relationship if you haven't had it for a very long time. So one idea, it's pretty simple: touch the small of her back or his back. Another is to have really, really long hugs when you are leaving each other, or when you just come in the room. Just hug. The Gottmans, actually, they're famous relationship therapists, and they say a 6-second kiss and a 20-second hug, and those release all the oxytocin that make you really feel good. So that's what you want to aim for. You can try sexting your partner. Like maybe it's just a funny meme, or maybe it's something like, "Hey, baby, like, will you meet me in the bathroom at 6:00? I don't know, whatever. Something that is not usual for you. Or how about you decide to try to get intimate in a different place in the kitchen? That's always been a sexy place for me. I always like doing it in the kitchen for some weird reason. I love to cook. Maybe that has something to do with it. Order something new and surprise your partner. Or you can order like sensory play, hot wax, or a feather, or a new vibrator. Or maybe you just greet them differently, like wearing something different. Greet them in your underwear. Or maybe if the kids are home, you kind of say, "Hey, honey, come in the bedroom for a minute," and you give them a taste of what they might get later. There's plenty of opportunities to be able to kind of just slowly get that spark back. No, is it ever going to be the same as it was when you first started? No. But to quote Esther Perel, she says, you can have different relationships with the same person. So the key is to create a new relationship with an old partner.